Hey, good morning, folks. Today we're going to see some interesting topics in Selenium WebDriver. We had this course agenda where we thought we started with Selenium basics. We covered the ID stuff. We moved on with locator strategies, identifying them in using XPath, class name, ID, etc. Then again, we moved on to WebDriver. We converted an ID script into a WebDriver script, which is again another way of using the experiment options in Selenium IDE. We understood that how we can actually convert your Selenium IDE script into a WebDriver script. We did understand the basics of JUnit and TestNG before we went ahead, installed Eclipse, installed Selenium Maven in Eclipse, and then we ran our first WebDriver script. We also, covered parts of, like your TestNG, your parts of JUnit, the difference between them. We also generated the report ng and found out a good HTML reporting as well. So until now we have covered the basics, and I expect you guys to basically go ahead and try and experiment with other websites with whatever knowledge you have gained. Today we will be going in a little bit depth in WebDriver. We'll be focusing on some common functions being used, common commands being used in WebDriver, and where do they use those things. And then we will go with how to handle drop downs, how to handle alerts and pop-ups, what are the select option in Selenium. And finally, we'll end up with web tables, frames, and dynamic elements. So that is the agenda for this meeting. And we will be, as usual, referring to website to basically handle all these things. So I expect you guys to basically ensure that your Eclipse is up and running. We'll switch to workspace. Just give me a minute. Just give me a time for my Eclipse to get started. Meanwhile, you guys can start your Eclipse, keep it ready. Also, I would expect you to go to seleniumeasy.com, the website which we use for our day-to-day practice. And say /test. Okay. There's something called alerts and models. Okay, you can go and click on alerts, bootstrap alerts. Okay, that's fine. Okay, as I told you guys, like we'll start with some common functionalities which being used. We have seen a few. We'll be seeing a few more today, and then I'll also tell you like how and where those things will be useful for you. So I see Prashant and Roshan. Prashant and Roshan, before me going ahead, do you want to discuss on anything, or you on whatever topics being covered, or you're fine me to go ahead with it? You can use our Slack channel to basically do a chatting. Fine, Roshan. I think I got your message. Thank you very much. So we'll move on. Okay. First and foremost, before when you're launching your any browser, like if you want to go with a Chrome browser, you specify it as webdriver.chrome.driver and system property. Same goes with IE driver. You go with the IE Explorer driver, or if you go to the latest Firefox driver, you have to specify the Gecko driver. You have WebDriver as an interface. Okay, I'm not going to go in depth of like what is interface and other things. Like I hope you guys understand the basics of Java. If not, we will be covering in the next sessions, upcoming sessions. So WebDriver is an interface, so it has unimplemented methods present in it. Okay, so whereas the WebDriver instance, when I say WebDriver, is this one. Okay, this this is an interface. There's a difference between an interface and a class. An interface contains abstract methods. Contains all the abstract methods, which means that there are no implementation of it. Okay, a Chrome driver is a class which actually implements your WebDriver. Okay, so when I say implementing WebDriver, what happens is like you would be having all the implementations, whatever were abstract in the interface of the WebDriver would be implemented in the Chrome driver. So you would be able, so similarly you have it for Firefox driver, you will have it for Safari driver, Opera driver, Android driver, iOS driver, etc., etc. So for all the drivers, everything, the base is your WebDriver. So whenever you're going to change it, you have to specify it and then change it accordingly. Okay. Now, once you have given the context to the WebDriver, the way we have done, we have started with the abstract, then we gave a context to the abstract saying that, you have to go with the Chrome driver. So now we have given the context to the WebDriver, then you can go and basically start managing the WebDriver. So we'll see driver.manage, okay, is trying to manage your driver instance. Like if you go and if you are using Eclipse or you can or IntelliJ 4J, you can say control space. You get all the list of functionalities, the possible functionalities which you can perform. Okay, so driver.manage tells you cookies. Like where actually you can add cookies and delete cookies. You can manage cookies using Selenium. Okay, so the detail about cookies and all those things we'll be looking in the later on sessions. When I say later on sessions, the advanced Selenium sessions. Okay, the timeouts becomes very important. Like notification timeouts, notification logs comes into your where exactly how exactly Selenium is performing. So if you want to go timeouts, timeouts is basically specifying that what is my implicit wait and explicit wait. We will see that in the next session. What is the purpose of an implicit wait and explicit wait, and what is the difference between implicit and explicit. Okay. Again, timeout is one option which you have to use. Okay, and there is something called window. So let's go and try to see what is there in the window. So driver dot manage dot window dot. So now when I say full screen, it's going to open my window into a full screen. Okay, let's give it a shot. Also we'll look into others. Okay, get position is going to give you my xy coordinate. Okay, so it gives you in the form of a point. Okay, point is a class where actually I'll get the reports out of it, and then from there I will be able to get the exact x and y coordinates. Okay, full screen is one. There is something called maximize. Okay, maximize full screen is like the complete your driver instance will be completely fully screened. No, there's no other window will be open. When you go for an maximize, it's like you maximizing your browser window. So that is the difference between a full screen and a maximize. We'll look into that. We'll go with full screen first, and then we'll go to maximize second. Okay. And there is something called set position, set size. Okay. Set position is basically in your screen. I want to be I want my screen to be in this particular position. Say in my right hand side corner, I want it to be. So you have to specify the x and y coordinate in the form of a point, so that you can have your screen there. Okay. And set size, again, your height and width of your driver, that is your browser in which you wanted to launch. So these are the different ways of manipulating your driver instance. So if I wanted to run it, if I wanted to run my driver instance in a very less compressed fashion, there are different ways of doing that. Okay. One of the way is basically, can specify the dimension, and then you can you can actually have a constraint sizes. Okay. So let's try out the full screen option. I'll give you guys time to basically give it a shot with the full screen and then the maximize screen. So you can take the same working sample. Okay. If you're not completed the sample, you obviously you have the sample in our Selenium workshop folder. It's already present. You can go to examples. You can go to test ng and get the test ng test. Okay. You must be having there. So instead of the C Chrome driver, just go and change your Chrome driver path, and you are done with it. You should be able to. You have to just ignore the C Chrome driver and remove it. Remove the C drive. The Chrome driver is within your main project, so you should be able to run this. So you can give it a shot in case you are getting stuck up with TestNG. Okay. So now let's give it a shot. Let's give it a run. This is a JUnit test case, so I'm running it in a part of a JUnit. Your driver instance is launched. Just a second. Yeah, you can see this. The screen got maximized. I did not do any manual stuff, so this is the maximized stuff. So the test gets maximized. Your window gets maximized with this. So your test runs on a maximized browser especially. Now let's try to give it a try on the full screen stuff. So basically, it's not allowing us to do a full screen. Not so sure why. You can see here the session is saying that we cannot go with the full screen. I have another Chrome is working, so probably that could be an issue. Let's see. No. Okay. Looks like the full screen functionality is not working with the latest Selenium, but guys, what happens is like you get the complete screen being showcased as a full screen. So you won't see the menu bars and all those things. What you see is the application running. Okay, let's move on. You guys want to give it a shot? I'll give you 5 minutes to basically give it a try. So right now it's 8:28. So probably we will be syncing back again at 8:35. You guys try out the maximize stuff and then come back if you have any queries on it. we look good. Let's move on. We're going to see the web element. So whatever you have seen was a web driver. Okay. Now there is another class which is called a web element. Okay. Again, it's another interface. Sorry, it's another interface called web element. Similar to web driver, we have something called web element. Okay. A web element would be, as I told you last time, in a particular in any portal, you have each and every items in the portal as we have determined as the web element. Okay, so web element has its own properties. So when you're trying to perform any action on the web element, in a sequence of actions of web elements becomes your WebDriver script. Okay, your Selenium script. So web element plays a very important role. So how do we identify the web element? Web element could be identified using driver.find element. Okay, then inside the find element there is something called by. Okay, by is a class. Okay, the by is basically helps you to basically go ahead and then get the identifications using ID, class name, class, tag name, link text, whatever we had seen in Selenium IDE. So it actually gives us options to basically identify a web element in various ways. So we identifying a web element by the respective way of identification. Here in this case is ID. We have link text. We can go with what do you say? We can go with tag name. We can go with class name. We can go with name. We can go with class, partial link text. The same the locator strategy which we tried it out. The CSS selector, the XPath by CSS selector. So whatever we saw is applicable even here as well. So these are different ways of identification of your web element. Okay. There is another API, another method called web elements. Okay, there's something called web elements. We did try that as well, where we went ahead and we were saying try to find out the number of inputs. So we went ahead and said by tag name and then use find elements. It's going to give me yeah, it's going to give me the number of inputs. Okay, so yeah, so that is the thing. So you get the number of inputs as an output. So you will be getting it. You will be getting the total number of the elements present with that particular tag name. So that is the intention of the number of the find elements. So this can be used. This can be leveraged when you're trying to identify whether that particular web element is present or not. Because there are some other methods like is displayed, is enabled, okay, but those methods basically run find element and then run your is displayed. So what happens? Your exception gets thrown inside the find element itself. So we need not go to the it won't go to the next column of is displayed. We will just look into that as well. So now we saw the find element. We also saw the find elements. Now let's go ahead and get the other values. Okay. So driver dot find element. We have to find the element and we have to proceed further. Okay. But before that, we have others as well. Like there is something called get current URL. Okay. Let's see what it goes to print the current URL. Okay. Going to print the current URL. There's something called get title. It's going to print the current title. Okay. So these are some methods which can be used to retrieve the data from the web driver which you are working on. Okay. Let's see this driver dot get window handle is a string. Okay, we'll explain in the advanced Selenium where how to use a get window handle and what are the sets of window handles we will be getting into. Okay. Okay, there's something called switch to. We will look into that when you're looking into others in today's session. Okay, driver.close, driver.quit. There are two differentiations to that. Driver.close is basically you're closing your web driver. The driver.quit would be completing the session, quitting the session. Okay, so go with driver.quit. Yeah. So okay, so let's. These two is going to give us the current title and current URL. Okay. Let's move on with web element. Inside web element, you have some, after you do the find element. Okay, if I wanted to know the other details of it, like let's take in by, we will take the same thing by XPath. And then you have another find element. So we are basically trying to find an element. Inside that element, we are trying to find the other element. That's the representation of the web element. Okay. So we got a web element. What if I wanted to find out a web element inside a web element? Say for example, I got the div. Find the div inside my div. I wanted to find the tag name with an input. Then there's something called get attribute. Say attribute. Let me see whether I'm getting any. I have any attribute available for this. So let me go back. So I was looking for the get total one. So inside that there is. So these are attributes. Okay. So there is a type attribute. Okay. Button type button. Okay. So let me try to retrieve that type attribute type. Okay. Or let me say this out. This is going to give me the attribute of the button. Okay. Let me say attribute type. Okay. Cool. So let's run this. So what we expect is we expect the current URL to get displayed. We expect the current text to be displayed. Now I have to shut down the maximize stuff. The maximize is not working out. Full screen. Sorry, full screen is not max. So I'll just move it to maximize. Screen got maximized. Okay, so now we got all the printouts. Basically, if you just go and see, so you have this title, you have the current URL, okay, you got the current URL, you got the title, okay, the attribute as button. So we're able to get the attribute using attribute get attribute method. We're able to get the title using get title, and the current URL as get current URL. Okay, so these are some major commands we use. Okay, but if you are going towards responsive testing, like wanted to identify what are the different what is my height and width of my particular web element. If you want to identify those things, then we can go ahead and we can use something called let me take an example so that we can take the same example. I want to know my get height and width of my web element get total. Okay, that button, I want to know my height and width. So how would I do it? Dot you can see here, you can go to get rect, it's going to give me a rectangle, and then it's going to tell me the height and width. So you have a maximized screen now. So and then you're going to the same test, going to the input form. Yes, yeah, got one failure. Interesting. So again, 3.4.0 is not allowing us to get the rectangle size as well. So again, that's another issue which needs to be sorted out by, let's go and comment these things. Get rect is not working in 3.4.0. So let's go ahead with point. Yeah, here we go. So we have this. specification 368.954. So it means this particular location is 368 and 954. Okay, so that's what my x and y coordinates are talking about. So this point is 368 954. So any questions, guys? Okay, cool. I think I can see from the chat there is no questions. So yeah, we are fine. Okay, good. So yes, I think now you guys can leverage it with responsive testing. Yes, right. So we can basically go with responsiveness. We can actually we would be able to try out with different windows and see whether like is my height and width getting changed, or is it remaining constant. There could be customers, there could be clients who are very specific about the the pixel differences as well in terms of your yeah, in terms of your spaces and indentation. So again, so there these methods are going to be very helpful for you. Okay. Yeah, so now we have ended up with the common methods and common commands which have been using. So what is pending right now is we will go down and then we will try to do alerts and pop-ups today. Okay, we'll try to handle some alerts and some pop-ups as well. Okay. So let's go to alerts and alert models, bootstrap alerts. So what you're able to see in the screen right now is a lot of alerts. Okay, they are differentiated using a bootstrap with respect to a color. Okay, if it's info, it goes in a blue. If it's in success, it goes in green. If it's danger or or an error, then we go for a red. Okay, warning, it's an yellow. So again, nothing to do with what we are what we are been doing in part of Selenium, but there are two different noticeable alerts which you have. One is auto closable alert. Okay, another one is a normal success message. Okay, so let's go and see here. So click on it. Okay, it will hide automatically after 5 seconds. Okay, you not do any action on it. Okay, I'll tell you what do you mean alert action. Okay, so right here it's going to go off after 5 seconds. Okay, whereas a normal success message, you need to perform an action on it. Okay, you have to say accept or cancel. Okay, but it says close. Use the close corporate button. It's asking us to close. Okay, so you have to close this. Okay, so let's try to handle these two by our. So we have to, which means that I have to go to this particular HTML, right? So I'll just copy the code. Let me rewrite whatever we have written. So let me go ahead and then create a new class. So I'll go and create a new class and say it as handling alert. Okay, handling alerts. Say finish. Yeah. First and foremost, which I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the basic stuff which are common. So apart from test, everything remains common to me. So I'm going to copy that. Okay. Now let's go ahead and write the test. So test alert is my method name. Okay. This should fall under test ng. Okay. Okay, we are all set. Okay. Now there is a method called driver dot navigate. Okay. Driver dot navigate dot to, and then you give the URL here. Okay. So I'm expecting it to basically navigate to that particular location or particular website with the whatever we have given. Okay. And then we are moving ahead. Once we are coming here, I wanted to click on the normal success message. So I go and inspect the element. It says it's a button. There's a button ID as well. So let me go and click on that button. So how would I do it? I would say driver dot find element by ID, right? And then specify the identification of it. Okay, then say click. Right? So this will perform me a click operation. Okay. So what I'm expecting, I'm expecting an alert to be present. Okay. So now, how is the alert handled? So there is something called an alert here. Okay. So let's see whether I'm able to find it from the alerts. So there's something called, what we saw was driver dot switch to dot alert dot. Let me first verify whether it is a proper alert or not. Okay. There is a class called alert. So I've just assigned that to driver dot switch to dot alert. So now we have actually we are trying to go to the alert page. Okay. Let's run this. Alert dot. Trying to get the text from the alert. Okay. So this is a simple one. Let's go and check it out. So run engine. Yeah. What happened? What it says is there's no alert open. So it does not. It's not taking it as an alert. That's the reason why it says it here itself. There is no alert open. It just reminds us, there's, hey, you know what? There is no alert open. So why can't you just go and give me a proper alert? There's a difference. Okay, let's go ahead. Let's see. Yes, this is a better alert. This is a better alert. Okay, something called JavaScript alert. So like when I say click me here, you get an alert. Now let's try this. Okay, I will go and change the URL. Now inspect this element. Okay. So we'll have to go by the class name. So let's go with the class name. By class name. So what happens is it has to go here, click on this, and it says I'm an alert box. So I'm an alert box should be displayed as a message which we wanted to see. So let's see. Okay, it's throwing me an error for the identification. So let me go ahead with something else. Yep, yep, it started working. So it gave me alert handling. I'm an alert box. So this is exactly what we expected. So we click on the click me, and then it says I am an alert box, and that's exactly what gets reflected when you say get text. Okay, so which is very good. So I would say intro alert message. This is an alert message. Okay, now we have to handle the alert. So let's say alert dot, because if you're not handling the alert, then it will be keep on popping up and don't allow you to do anything else. So let's say alert dot accept. Okay, and see what happens. Yeah, it was too fast. What happened was like it handled the alert. It says, okay, you know what? I've done with the alert. I've clicked on the OK button. Okay, let's see another example. Okay, now JavaScript confirm box. Click on it. Press a button. So now there are two buttons. Okay, okay. You can see here there's something called okay. Click me again. When you say cancel, you press cancel. Okay. Now when you say accept, it'll be okay. When you say cancel, it'll be, when you say reject, it'll be, you will press cancel. Okay. Let's go and validate that. Now there is the same thing, but I think we have to go with the second one. Click me on the second one. Same button, but the second one. Interesting. Now how would you handle this? Because we have the same click me and again same click me again here. Okay, you can do different ways. Let us do it. Let me show you to you one way. Okay. There's a paragraph called confirm demo. Okay. Now let's see if let's validate assert dot assert. Okay, assert dot again assert equals or assert true. Okay. Okay, these are some assertion types. Okay, assert dot assert true is basically going to give you an assertion type. Okay, so now what you're expecting? I'm expecting the driver dot find element by ID confirm text demo dot is displayed. Okay, so I'm expecting it to be displayed. If it is displayed, then go ahead. If it's not displayed, you throw an error. Okay, we can give the error message as well here. If it's there, then what I want you to do is basically get the driver, get the message for me. So this out message and got get text. Okay, we're done. Let's see what happens. Our expert seems to be a problem. It is waiting for your implicit time. So implicit time will actually wait till your timeout which you have provided in the start of it, and then give you an error saying that particular element is not found. Yeah, here you go. Button of 2 is not found. Now, how would we handle this? What we will do? Tricky situation. We ended up with a tricky situation. As I told you, whenever you end up with some tricky situations, you can go the Selenium IDE way. There you go. I have the expert, a better expert now. Let's give it a shot. It says button on click. You have to go and click which contains my confirmation, my confirm link. So you have to go to the button which has an on click attribute, my confirm function. So let's go and try this out. You pressed OK because we accepted it, right? Which is very good, as expected. Now let's go and say I'm rejecting it. What I'm expecting, dot dismiss or reject, dismiss. Now let's go and just give it a shot. I'm expecting it to you press cancel here. Okay. Yeah, you got it. You press cancel. Right? So now I think you guys know how to basically handle an alert, right? I'm expecting you guys to handle the alert by yourself. You can give it a shot with the JavaScript alerts. If it's a model box and if it's not an alert, just the way we saw the other way, you would have a div to it. So once you have a div, you can handle the div by yourself. Okay. So in this case, Bootstrap alerts, you have a div. This comes as a dynamic div. Okay. So if you have something dynamic coming into picture, then your ID also changes. Like again, let me just go ahead and check this out. You have recorded these six. Yes. You clicked on it. Okay, and then you validate it, saying that verify element present. Hmm. It's an interesting one. Div of two, div of two. Again, look at the complexity of this. Okay, and these kind of expats kind of flunk when you go with different cross browsers. So let's try to create an expat for this. We have something called by class. Then we have a button, just close, alert success, alert normal success. So there's something called class name alert normal success. Let's try with that. If I'm able to do it or not. How would you do that? So basically, I'm looking for a div at the rate. Okay, I have to specify xpath equal to. Div at the rate class name equal to normal success. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Yep. It's a complex one. So what you have to do is let's go with something unique. It's text. not giving this is not giving us any other way basically. Yeah, I found it. Hmm. Background color changes. That's the reason why it is not working. So what can we do? I can take the whole class. I can take the whole class and say at the class, provide the whole class. I'm sure this is going to work out. Yep, yeah, it's continuously working. So let's try and do a next. That's interesting. No, but I think this is going to work. So let's take this and use it in our case. So now let me go and create an, okay, I think let me go and create a new one for us to basically understand the difference between a model box and the alert box. Let me say bootstrap alerts. Okay. You know what to do? You basically copy the first, the before and after test remains the same. Right? And you then go for the test and say public void test bootstrap alerts. Okay. Right. So now you go and specify those things. So let me first driver dot get end up to that particular URL. Okay. Now driver dot find element by ID, and then you click on the normal success message. So it's normal button success is the very simpler. My ID normal button success. They say click. Okay. So we're just going to click that, and now I'm going to try to find out this out driver dot find element by XPath. Now you can give the XPath. Okay. Given the XPath dot, okay, is displayed. Okay, the is displayed is going to give me a true or a false. So let's see. Yes, it's given me a true, which means that I'm able to get to that particular alert, bootstrap alert. Okay. Yeah. So that is basically one way of identifying and getting things done. Okay. Any questions until now, guys? We will go to the drop down and probably we can take up the tables and other things in the next session. Just let me know if you're getting stuck up somewhere. We will just break for 5 minutes. We'll come back and then we will work on the drop downs. We will see the different methods like select by value, select by text, and select by options. And then we'll wind up for today, which would end up, which would mean that we will be having 4 topics to cover. Yeah, I will put this web tables, frames, and dynamic elements in the next session. Okay. So we will be covering the last 4 topics in the next Saturday, and then we will wind up this Selenium Basics course. So it's up to you guys to basically go and give it a shot, on your stuff, and then let me know. So it's 9:20 now. We will sync back at 9:23. 3 minutes break. We'll get back on 9:23. You can give it a shot. You can run these things. Work on the yeah. You guys know the URLs. So you guys can go ahead and work on the alerts and let me know for any queries. Okay. Get back to you in 3. Okay, guys, I think we'll be with no queries. Probably I'll go ahead and uh, we'll go ahead with the other one. Last topic for today is basically handling the drop downs. Okay. So now let's go to the drop down handling. So when you get a drop down like this, like that, okay, my suggestion would be, okay, my suggestion would be basically you can add these things here, like you can type in by using a send keys. So you can see here, these kind of drop down basically would be having your input, okay, the form control. So this will accept, the type is text, so this will accept your input. So what you can do is you can go with the normal send keys option, give the complete option which you see, okay, and then go and you can just verify whether it's getting, this particular thing is getting displayed. So the list group item, does it contain the active, like you can just go with the class which is active and get the value out of it and verify whether that particular list item is getting visible, okay, and then you can perform your operation. This is one way of doing it, especially when it comes to an input box and then trying to get a list group out of it. Let's try to do this. Okay, so that this is a real-time example, so that is why I really like this site. So we will just go ahead and then go ahead and say list group example. Okay, I will have all these examples uploaded in GitHub so that you guys can, whenever you guys go ahead and see it next time, you would be able to see those things. Okay. Okay, so again we have created, so let me go ahead and then, yeah, do our copy paste, and now test public void test this group. Okay, so what I'm going to do, so I have to first navigate to this particular location. So I, Roshan, you saw the Eclipse window, right? So any questions, Roshan? Great. So Roshan had query and it got resolved. Roshan, I'll have all these things as well in the GitHub. So I'll just give you the, the link. You can go and update it as well. Okay. You can download that and you'll be able to get it. Of course, you guys have my mail ID. So if you guys face any issue, let me know. Okay. So now let's move back. Now I'm going to say driver dot navigate dot to and give the URL. Okay. help me to navigate to the respective portion. Now let's go and try to identify these things. The list box, so we went to the bootstrap list box. So now this is the input box. So like as I said, if it's an input box, if it's not a drop down, I think where you can type in, the type in becomes text. I would probably ask you to go and there's a search dual list. Okay, so you can take this name, okay, and give it a shot with the send text itself. So send keys itself. So let me do the same by name. Okay, dot send keys. Let me go ahead. Let me take this value. Okay. Okay. Now let's do an assertion. Dot assert true, whether the list group is active with that only name which we have typed. Okay. I'm going to just type this name, so which means I'm ending up with the respective stuff. So let me go here. So this is the only active list group. So now I have to just say list group item. This is displayed. Okay. If there's nothing is displayed, if it's giving an error message, then what happens is basically the display is none, so it will give you an error message. Okay. So right now, let me just run this. I'll give you a negative scenario as well. So let's run this. I'm expecting it to be true. Okay. Okay. It's gone right there, so that's a problem. So let's just it went and typed in here, whereas we wanted to be typed in here. So which means both the names are same. So we have to inspect in a different way. Yeah, both things the same. So that is the reason why the type went to that. So let's just go and I told you guys, like if you have actually if you have multiple elements with the same identification technique, then the first element takes the preference. So that's what happened now. We have to put a second one now. change this. Input at the rate name equal to let's try this. It's not able to identify it. Let's go back to our, we have another issue, so let's go back. Selenium IDE is always going to be helpful for us. So let's go back and say something similar what we tried it out. That's what, like, so what it's saying is something about we similarly tried it out. So let's just go and delete all these things. Okay, it is being considered this way. So let's keep it short. Okay, so let's give this XPath a shot and see how it works. Yes, it's working. So now I'm expecting a successful message to be present. Okay, it's not giving, it's giving me a, okay. It's not able to identify the disk group item. Yeah. It's my mistake. So I have to specify, if you have specified that what type of class equal to disk group item. So this is not the right XPath which I created, sorry for that. So now it should work. Yep, it did work. Wait, so now let's say that, like for example, let's say that I have just changed it remove this, okay, but still it will work because as the name, as a search operation happens, so even if you say crash just to whatever it is, that name, basically the remaining list item will be one. It will be still displayed. Okay. Now if I go and just say, search for say something like Suren, which is not at all present there, so it has to give us the error. So let's give it a shot. Still said it's still going to display that. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, as it's showing here, there should be not be anything there. So I'm expecting it to be empty. It should be giving me an error. But what happens is, if I'm not wrong, it is taking this list and giving us a success message. So we have to be very specific and try to get the value. So let's see. As well. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to the div3 of div. Inside that div, do you have anything with respect to the list item? That's what you're going to find out. So like if you guys remember, that's what I told you when you wanted to go one inside the other. So we'll go to this div, and inside the div we'll find out whether there's any list group or not. So div3 of div is our target. So what we will do is go back here. So find element, again I'll still continue with this, find element by XPath. Okay, I'll say div 3/div. Okay, dot find element. So basically I'm going to go and then verify that find element, and inside that whether do we have a list group item. So let's try this around. What I'm expecting is an error. Second. Now for this case, you have to go to this particular UL, and then inside this UL, any LI is present or not, is displayed or not, is what you have to find out. Otherwise, you won't be able to rectify this. Because it's a complex case, guys. Because like what happened is like we are giving double slash, which means that it's going to start again, and it's starting again from here. So that's where the problem lies. What we can do is inside that we can go with a tag name, and then verify whether that you have any LI which is displayed true. So let me try that first, and if not working, then we will go with this. Yeah, let's try this. So what I'm saying is, instead of double searching it, go and find it out from this here. So if I have said like this would have been a success. I'm expecting an error message here. Let me just try it out first. Yeah, looks like we're going to get an error message. It's waiting for that particular element to be found out. Yep. So what I did is like just by removing one slash, what I'm saying is you try to find the element inside that element. Okay. Inside this div, if you are finding any element, okay, the list to item and if it is displayed, then let me know. It is not able to find out that element, and that's the reason why it is giving us an error. Okay. I hope you guys have understood this. If you have not, just message, just ping me in Slack. Roshan, do you have any queries on this? Did you get the approach, like how did it went on and how basically you're navigating inside a diff? Great, great, really nice. Okay, let's move on, guys. I think I'll just search for a better select down option where we will go ahead and find out the element text in different ways. And then I think we can wind up. So because yes, the select drop down list. Okay, so now how to handle this drop down list? Okay, there are three different ways. Okay, there are two things. One is your list, your multiple select drop down list, and one select a drop down list. Let's go and do it one after the other. Okay, so what you're going to do is basically I'm going to basically go here, okay, and select today is Sunday. I have to select Sunday. Okay, first of all, to do that, I have to identify that what type of element it is. There's something called select. Okay, and inside select you have something called option, and each and every option, and there's a value to it. Okay, now let's understand how to basically handle select inside Selenium. Okay, now let's go here. I'll add another one which says handling drop down. Okay. My before test, after test remains the same. So again, the same thing. Now I'll be going to the test. Okay. So now we have to navigate to this particular position. Thanks, Ocean. Navigate .2. Okay. We have gone to the navigation part of it. Now we have ended up there. Now we have to find out the select element. So there is something called select class. Okay. New select. The select class is from Selenium. Okay. You need to give web element as input. Okay. So now driver dot find element. How am I going to find that particular select element? Let's go back. It says select demo. Okay. Let me go with that ID. So I'm going to say find element by ID. I want to give select demo. Okay. So now my select is I have given it similar to alert. They have a select class. Okay. Now inside select, now there are three different ways of doing it. Okay. Select text, selected by value, selected by visible text, selected by index. Okay. So now let's go with the select by visible text. So what I'm going to select is Sunday. Right. So whenever I see Sunday as my visible text, so when I say here, this is Sunday, right? This Sunday I'm talking about. This is my visible text. Okay. This is my value, and this is my option. Okay. This is my index 0, 1, 2. So this is 1. Okay. So it's going to select Sunday. So let me just select Sunday, and the day selected is Sunday. Let's go and validate it. Selected value, and it has to be Sunday. Okay. So let me go and say assert dot assert true. Driver dot find element by class. Yes, by I'll go with XPath. XPath and say /# @ class equal to selected value. Okay. Okay. What I'm going to verify in that is dot get text becomes a string to me now, contains Sunday. Okay. Now let's give it a shot. It worked for us. It selected Sunday, and it is passed for us. So it is very good. So so by visible text worked for us. Now let's try the other two options. Okay. Select by index. I'm going to say 1. Okay. I'm expecting it to be Sunday. How would I end up with 1? It's pretty simpler. So it goes like this: 0, 1, 2, 3, like that. Okay, the option values. Okay, 0, 1, 2, 3. So I've selected by index saying 1. So go for the first element and give me the first. Select the first element. That's what I'm saying, irrespective of it. Okay. Yes, it selected Sunday, the first one. What if I say it as 2? What happens? It's going to give Monday and it's going to give me an error. Let's see. Yep, it gave us an error. Selected Monday. Expected true, but found false. Okay. So that is the association error which you're getting. So that is the second one. I hope you have understood both visible text and index. Now it's pretty simpler now. Let's go by select by value. Okay. In value, you specify the value which you're seeing here. Okay. Now I want to be Sunday. Okay. Sunday got selected and it's worked for us. So this is how you handle a drop down, okay, by three different ways, okay. Now we are going to do the same stuff we are going to do with the list box. What is the list box? Is this one. If I'm able to select multiple stuff, say for example, first selected, okay, when I say select this, first selected California, okay, when I say 2, 3 and say get all selected, then going to give me all the other options, okay. So this is how, this is a deselect one and this is your first select one, okay. There's something called select multiple, okay. So there's some, we have to go back to multi select. So let's do the same. Public void test multi select, okay. This remains the same, so let me go to that. I have to go to that driver instance, because after every test we are actually quitting it. If you see here, after every test we are quitting it, so we are expecting a new browser to be launched. So that is an additional information for you guys. We are working with test HG. So now each and every test is going to close the browser, quit the browser and open the new browser, okay. So we have multiple tests, we have 2 tests now, okay. Now let's go ahead and say multi-select, okay. So there's a multi-select now. Here, select by, instead of saying select by value, we'll say select we'll go with select by index. We'll say 0, select by index again 1, or probably I'll say 1 and 2 and 3, or 1 and 2, okay, because we can do a multi-select option. So 1 and 2 basically should be Florida and New Jersey, okay. And then once we have done with that, let's go and verify, okay. String, I think it's select, dot get all selected options. Okay, it's going to give us a list of web elements. List of web elements. Okay. Selected options. Okay. Go for util and web element again with your Selenium. Okay. Now this size should be assert true. The size should be 2. Selected options dot yeah, size is equal to true 2 because we have selected 2 stuff. Okay. Now let's go and find it out whether it's right or wrong. Okay, first it will run the first it will run the drop down and then it will close, it will open another browser and then it will perform the multiple select. Okay, it worked. Both the things got successfully passed. Okay, which is a good thing. Now, if I was wanted to run the only one thing, then you have to say enabled equal to false. Okay, this is a test ng methodology, which means that don't run this test case. That's disabled. Run this test case alone. Okay. Oh, okay. I'm sorry, guys. I just made a small mistake. So here, let me go back. Okay, this is your first test case. I don't want to change this. Now I'm going to the second test case where I have to just go for the new one. Multi-select. Okay, and now you can go and do your select dot, select text to index, same thing. What I did is, like, I had not gone ahead and I actually wrote the same thing in the earlier test case. I'm just writing a new test case for you. Okay. List web element empty selected options equal to select dot get all selected options. Okay. Now let's say assert dot assert true. Selected options dot size is equal to true. So then it works for us. Now let's do another assert, last assert for the day. So it'll be assert true. Okay. Selected options dot get one dot it's a web element, right? Get text dot equals, what is the first element? Here it is Florida. So let me say Florida. So it has to be Florida. Okay. So now it's going to run only one test case. It's not going to run two test cases. Yep. Okay, one failed. What was the failure? Let me do this out. Dot size. Okay, let me just go back. I have to say enabled equal to false so that this does not get run again. So now it's going to be only one test case. Yeah, it is two. It is two. So okay, I think then the problem is okay. Oh yeah. I'm right. I'm sorry. It should be get of 0. It's not Florida, right? It should be New Jersey. That's the reason mine failed. Okay. Yeah. The list index starts on 0, and what I gave was 1, so it was going to New Jersey. Now it should be successful. Yes, it is. Okay. So any questions as of now in terms of handling list boxes, a multi-select or a drop-down list? If you guys have any questions? Great. I think I hope it was an interesting session this time because we had did a lot of a lot of things practically. So I hope you guys I hope you guys go and try this out. You have the site with you, and I'll be uploading all the add-ons whichever we did the class files into our project so that you can go and download it again. Okay. So yeah, so if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, we can wind it up. Thanks for being on the call today. Have a good Sunday. See you guys.